Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Poland Daily Travel. We're glad you could make it, and remember, watch us because we're watching you. In this series of episodes, we'll be going to the PRL Museum.
Waiting for a ride, feeling like a loner. No.
That's right, the museum of what Poland was like under the communist regime. It's a fascinating look at the past and back into a time that we don't have to live in anymore, thankfully. But nonetheless, a full range of communist kitsch is on display. There's a little cafe serving treats of the time as well as coffee made in an ancient machine. Still tasty in its own way. There are plenty of artifacts of the time on display. There's even the reconstruction of a small flat of the time with all the kinds of machines, utensils, and clothing that you would have seen, not to mention furnishings and furniture. It's all a truly guilty pleasure. After the People's Republic of Poland Museum, we'll go to the shooting range at FSO, and my guest, Maria Kadzielska, will learn to shoot. She'll be shooting for the first time. This is the safest and most popular shooting range in Poland, where all the major competitions are held. And it's located in the old FSO factory. So stay tuned for thrills and spills on the next series of episodes of Poland Daily Travel. I'm Will Richardson. Thanks for watching. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another thrilling edition of Poland Daily Travel. And you never know where we're going to end up. And in this case, we've traveled back in time, at least 30 years. Let's call it 40 or 50 or even 60 years into the communist past, because we're at the PRL, the People's Republic of Poland Museum, in beautiful downtown Warsaw. I am sitting here with the curator of the museum, and his name is Jacek. Jacek,
hello.
For allowing us to come and see you. I love your museum. I've been walking around. It's fascinating.
Thank you.
And everyone, you should come here to see what the past was really like so that you never want to return to it except in this museum and via picture books and history books. I was fascinated because always with the concept of the milk bar, the bar mleczna in Polish, right? The milk bar. Why do they call it a milk bar? We're sitting in one, but why do they call it that?
The government had to help people, to feed people. And for a certain period of time at the beginning when the milk bars were settled, the government paid for a glass of milk. So whenever you get there, you could buy a cheap food and get a free milk, glass of milk. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they very fast canceled the program, but this is how they called it milk bar, and this is why we have the name of the milk bars. Milk bars still exist in Warsaw, and they are quite popular. You still can get some cheap food there. Sometimes quite good.
To them sometimes.
Yeah,
they're not
so
bad.
one of it we have here.
There's
in the
one
opposite,
across the street. It's very popular.
Across the street, yeah.
It's just
it's very popular. So
so it's still part of life.
it is. Yeah.
And it still offers government subsidized food, a lot of them, not all of them.
I don't think now it's subsidized,
None
but
of
it's
it.
cheap. But it's cheap. Yeah, you don't expect there a perfect service. You don't expect a perfect atmosphere.
Yeah.
But it has a special atmosphere of the, let's say, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
There,
It reminds me of a thing they used to call in the United States the automat, which was where you would go. I mean, they haven't really existed since probably the 50s or 60s. But there were some, I remember going to as a child, which were created, like in New York. They still had a couple that were open, and you could go there and you just pick your food out of a box, right? Yeah. So that was our American vision, I think, of a milk bar. Very cheap food, kind of automated. But in this case, not automated because there's ladies cooking in the back.
Not automated, ladies cooking.
All fresh.
In some of
cheap,
the comedies from 70s, you could observe these scenes from the milk bars where, for example, the the plates were stick to the table, and the spoons were on the chain.
The spoons were on a chain, right? So you couldn't take them.
So you couldn't take them, and
That's
and,
true,
you know,
right?
it was
That's
it
hilarious.
was funny. It was fun.
Yeah.
It's not anymore like this. You could get a normal
Yes.
normal plate, quite normal food.
They even do takeaway.
I haven't heard about it.
I know
maybe,
one in Jolly
maybe,
Bush, it
maybe.
does takeaway.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So they try to adapt to
Yeah, it's
current
a very
days.
upmarket novel. Yeah, but I noticed on here when I was reading this that the point of these places was the milk bars was to serve cheap and quick food. Okay, we know that, but the emphasis was on pierogi. That's dumplings, right? With different fillings, because you can have what kind of fillings inside a pierogi?
It's the meat. It's
So meat and what?
meat,
Potatoes.
and there's a special kind of
Yeah.
pierogi called ruskie, which
Right.
is a combination of potato and cheese with some pepper, and this is a very
That's a good one. I've had that. Yeah.
They are really
I think
good.
that's my
And they were
favorite.
very popular, and with cheese, and also there is a kapusta, which
Oh,
is cabbage. Yeah, which is cabbage.
I've had those.
With cabbage. Yeah.
So
And
anyway, it's
free time.
basic food. This
Yeah.
is classic Polish food.
Absolutely.
Kielbasa, pierogi, well, all
Yeah,
know
yeah,
those
yeah.
words.
Yeah.
And pierogi are kind of, they've become a popular fad in many countries from the Polish diaspora. But other things that were important, pancakes, naleśniki.
Naleśniki, of course, and naleśniki were very popular because it was very cheap to produce. Some flour and milk.
But they're still popular. I mean,
Yeah, and
you
they're
see,
still popular, yeah.
The students, there's a place
Yeah,
across
absolutely.
the street, and the students are lining up.
Yeah, because
pancakes.
they are not expensive and feeling well, so
Yeah, on the student
so much.
budget, sugar to be.
On student budget, yeah.
Did you eat this kind of stuff when you were a student?
well, I had my canteen, student canteen, and sometimes, of course, they provided us also
Similar
with,
kind of stuff,
yeah.
yeah, to a milk bar, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had similar stuff. So, what else can we see here? I should talk about this, because these are amazing little cookies or biscuits. What is
Yeah,
it?
it's just wafer
Yeah.
filled with something which is hard to translate, but it's.
Very sweet.
It's very sweet because it's made of. It's like you fry some milk with sugar.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting dense, and you just spread it on the wafer. And it was very popular in I would say 70s when there was shortage of some more sophisticated sweets. So it was easy to produce, and I believe it's very nice.
Good. It's very tasty.
No artificial, no preservatives, and it's quite good.
Yeah, it's much tastier than the stuff you get in packages, I can tell you.
And we still
It's
offer
amazing.
it here in the museum. So
And you can get it right here in the museum.
yes.
Yeah. What does it cost to come for an entrance to the museum?
Well, the adult ticket costs 18 zloty, which is
Yeah, it's about
four
bucks. Yeah.
4.50
4.5
maybe.
bucks.
Yeah. And for children, students, and older people over 65, we offer tickets, the reduced tickets, which is 12 zloty, which is like $3.
So students and
Students, yeah.
and retirees.
Yeah.
12
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's also very reasonable. That would be
I think so.
2 or 3 British pounds to
Yeah,
get in.
more or less.
More or less, 2.5 to 3.5
Yeah.
British pounds. So it's well worth the experience. So I urge you all, come to the PRL Museum. And are you here every day?
Almost every day. Every day is from Monday to Friday.
And if somebody-
sometimes on
If
Saturday.
somebody wants to call and get a tour with you, can they do it?
Yeah, I don't do the tour.
Yeah.
Sometimes very
But you
very
have
rare.
people-
But we have here, of course, guides. They love this period of time. Some of them lived in this period of time. They can tell many interesting stories.
Oh, I bet we could sit here and talk for hours.
Yeah, we could.
I'm sure.
We could. Yeah.
and trade stories,
could.
because I've been coming to Poland in and out since I was, a kid. So yeah, so it's good. All right. Thank you very much for watching. That is Poland Daily Travel. We are at the PRL Museum. Now stay tuned, because we are going to see in the next episode, because we're going to see walking around the museum, and there are a lot of exhibits about automotive stuff of the time, a flat, the way people lived in a
Cinema.
flat, the cinema, and some of the politics of the time
Sure.
as well. All of these things we can see. Boy, we could make a whole documentary film just about this place. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that in the time we've got, but we're going to try and hit the highlights for you from the PRL Museum in beautiful downtown Warsaw, just a stone's throw away from Platz Konstytucji. Stay tuned for the next episode with me and with Jacek. Thank you, Jacek.
Thank you.